Good afternoon, everybody. Why are our politicians getting paid so damn much? Serious question. Now, typically speaking, for a job, jobs are performance-based, for the most part, naturally. So, if you do a terrible job at something, you either get fired or you don't get paid as much because you are a substandard performer of the job. Now, what is a politician's job? Well, to manage the affairs of a country, in a limited sense, of course. There's plenty of arguments to be made as to how much a government should intervene, but let's go ahead and say they're just there to manage the affairs. So, however well the country is doing, that's a pretty good reflection as to how the politicians are doing, because again, their job is to manage the affairs that are simply, well, the citizenry are just too busy to manage. Things like the military, borders, emergency services like the fire department, or law enforcement. Trust me, we've had this throughout history. It is a terrible idea to have a private police department, because then your subscription basically determines how well the police treat you. Just imagine it this way: you get into a fight with somebody, the police show up and say, oh, you've got a silver membership and he's got a gold membership. Guess who's going into the tank? But for the most part, politicians are just there to manage things. Well, things are not being managed very well by nearly any metric. We've got shortages of food and luxury goods all over the place. Half of the country is looking to secede. That's usually not a good sign. And of course, we've got... what more do you need? And yet, pretty much all of Congress has been getting fantastically rich throughout this entire crisis, or series of crises. So the problem is that we seem to have a bit of a disconnect here. A lot of our politicians, the crisis does not exist for them, not in a legal sense and not in a material sense. Definitely not in a legal sense, because every single time these politicians pass a mask mandate or some sort of lockdown, they're almost immediately seen going about, going out to restaurants, getting their hair done, ice cream, things like that, whereas everybody else, all of the subject peoples, have to stay indoors. You see, those people aren't good enough. Those people have to obey the laws that the politicians are exempt from. They are, after all, your betters. Of course, we see this with the Met Gala. We see certain politicians, like AOC, walking around wearing a dress that costs more than most people's annual salaries, that says tax the rich on it, going to a $30K per ticket event. She's not wearing a mask, but all of the servants have to wear masks. Why does this person... Oh, and this is also a person who voted for a pay raise for Congress, and everybody else in Congress just happened to agree. Yes, these people get to vote on their own pay raises, and it happens very quietly, usually without any announcement, and it comes directly out of the pockets of the productive citizens that actually have to do something in order to generate an income. These people, apparently they're immune to that sort of thing. They can do whatever the hell they want, and for the most part, they still get paid. Hell, they can shut down the government and they still get paid. They can strike and they still get paid. Not only do they get paid a generous sum, but at the same time, they also get a tremendous amount of benefits as well. So, just a question. And for all of you out there, y'all have a nice day, exercise, get out into nature, and take care of yourselves. Have a good one.